Welcome to this week's episode of OK at Work. You're here with Russell Berger and Sarah Sawyer. And as you can tell from Russell's background, we've had a little bit of weather here in Baltimore this week. We've gotten some snow. So what we want to talk about this week is what you do with employees when we're dealing with weather like snow or any other types of weather that might cause employees difficulty getting into the office. And a question we get often from employers is, well, what do we do if we close, or what if we don't close and people refuse to come in, and what do we need to do about paying them? And a big starting question there is, well, are they exempt or non-exempt? As far as what your responsibilities are, and then what's your policy, and do you have a policy in place? So, what do you usually recommend, Russell?
So the first thing I would recommend is definitely having a written policy and communicating that to employees. I think it's good to be out in front and to have a game plan for what you're going to do. Secondly, with respect to exempt employees, so those are the employees, usually they're salaried, they're not subject to the minimum wage and overtime requirements of the state or federal law. For those employees, the basic gist of it is they get paid a salary regardless of the number of hours that they work in a week. So in theory, they get paid their salary. If you have a snow day on a Wednesday and they work the other 4 days of the week, they're still supposed to get their salary for the week. That's pretty straightforward. Where some of the questions come in with respect to exempt employees are, do you require the exempt employee to burn a day of PTO if the office is shut down? And I think most employers determine that they probably shouldn't do that. It's a bad employee relations policy. And a lot of employers, I think, lean towards eating the cost of a snow day for their salaried exempt employees. However, a little bit different scenario is if the office is open and an exempt employee chooses not to come into the office, then I think most employers fall on the side of charging that employee a PTO day and burning it off their PTO bank. Of course, now we've gone through COVID and we have a different relationship with remote work. Much like our kids that are now in virtual school and may never get actual snow days ever again. There's some flexibility in terms of how we accommodate that, especially with respect for exempt employees that maybe already have a laptop at home or are already set up to work remotely. You can still pretty much have them work remotely. So if that's the case, you don't really lose any time. You don't have to worry about PTO. They just work a little bit differently on a snow day than they might on any other day. So that's kind of where things stand with the exempt employees. Sarah, do you want to take the non-exempt employees?
Yeah, so a lot of businesses that use non-exempt employees, especially when it comes to snow days, they might have to have people reporting in person and may not always be able to use remote work, or might have a business where people need to come in, and so often sometimes they'll have employees come in and then leave. So also having a policy around that and what that means for hourly employees. Some states, there are actually specific laws on employees reporting and then having to leave before their scheduled shift ends and what you have to pay them. So that's something to keep in mind. And then also for businesses that are actually involved in dealing with inclement weather. So people who might all of a sudden now have some of their employees on call to deal with snow removal or certain things like that. So having to make sure that if you've got someone on call that you're being conscious of what the laws are there as far as when you need to pay them, when you don't, and that really turns on how available they need to be, and when they get called in and things like that, and the definitions around whether they've been actually submitted to have to work and that needs to be paid. So definitely some nuance here to consider with employees, but definitely to your point, Russell, with the remote work environment that we're in, I think that's making things easier for a lot of employers that have non-exempt and exempt employees that are able to work remotely, and they're able to continue working on that snow day, and don't have to eat that cost, but it's definitely a new environment.
Yeah, well, and especially with respect to non-exempt employees as well, because of course, if they don't work, generally they don't get paid. So the remote work aspect of it, while people enjoy their snow days for sure, gives an employee who might not be able to work and might not otherwise get paid for a snow day, an opportunity to work and to get paid, and for the business and the employer to keep rolling and keep operations on track. So, definitely something that's worth getting in front of as we move into the winter here and we get more of, there it is, this winter weather. And to you, Sarah, and to our audience, I apologize. We tried to record this when the snow was coming down a couple days ago, and we just couldn't get the timing right. So we'll have to ask our crack special effects team here at OK at Work to put some snowflakes coming down here to really flush out the image.
Yeah, well, in Maryland, I think we're just lucky that the snow's still on the ground and hasn't melted away yet. So we'll take the win.
That's
Well,
right.
thanks, Russell. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Sarah.